Hey, thanks for coming to 1500ESPN.com. I'm Derek Wetmore, and I'm going to share with you my 5 thoughts from Thursday's Twins 6-5 win. Before we get started on that, I have to say that it was an impressive homestand for the Twins. To go 8-3, I know that the White Sox aren't a great team. The A's, similarly, not necessarily a great team, but the Twins still had to take care of business, and they did that at home this past week. It was an 11-game homestand, the longest of the season. Let's get started with 5 thoughts. Thought number 1, Ricky Nolasco. Only pitched 5 innings. It took him 94 pitches to get through that. Not a great outing for Nolasco by any stretch, but he did get the win. He's now 2-1 on the season, amazingly, and still hasn't pitched well, hasn't found his groove, as Paul Molitor said. Nolasco says he's dealing with a little bit of a mechanical issue where his left shoulder is quote-unquote flying open, meaning that he's getting his front side through his delivery too early in his motion. He wasn't great on Thursday, but he did then settle down after 3 pretty rough innings to go 2 more zeros and gave the Twins the proverbial chance to win. Bullpen came in. Mike Tonkin gave up a solo shot, but after that they shut it down. Tonkin with a couple of strikeouts. Then where'd they go? Aaron Thompson, the lefty, Blaine Boyer, and then Paul Molitor turned to Glenn Perkins for a 4-out save. So the offense has to be credited for scoring 6 runs, but also the Twins' bullpen for cleaning up Ricky Nolasco's short start. Vote of confidence from the manager after the game, though. Paul Molitor was asked if he still believes in Nolasco, and he said he believes a lot in Nolasco. He's in our rotation, and he will continue to be, Paul Molitor said. Thought number 2. Eduardo Escobar had a 2 RBI single in the game, but he also gave back a run in left field. Eduardo Escobar, a natural shortstop, playing out of position at the manager's request. He says he just likes to be in the lineup anywhere he can get, but it's pretty clear that even though he's getting a little bit better at playing the outfield, he doesn't have a lot of experience with that in his professional career. He frankly has struggled at times, and Thursday was no exception. A fly ball hit over his head. He takes a weird route to get back to the fly ball. It ends up going over his head for a double off the bat of Ike Davis. That directly led to a run for the Twins. Nolasco was able to avoid further damage by striking out a batter after that run scored, but still, with 2 outs, that ball, has to be caught by a Major League left fielder. Eduardo Escobar did not catch it. As Molitor described it, he took a bit of a banana route to get to the ball. If he keeps playing in left field, I'm sure that he'll get better, but the Twins continue this weird trend of playing infielders in the outfield. They did it last year, of course, most of the season with Danny Santana, the shortstop, playing center field, and just kind of throwing people out in left field, assuming that they can play it. I think that speaks to a lack of quality depth of outfielders in the Twin system, or at least fielders who are ready to compete in the major leagues. I think they've got a couple of good ones on the way. Thought number 3, Eduardo Escobar also broke his incredible walkless streak. I want to make sure I get the numbers right for you here. He had gone 123 plate appearances dating back to last season without a walk, and those are regular season plate appearances. It was September 3rd, 2014 was the last time Eduardo Escobar drew a walk in a Major League Baseball game. He did so on Thursday in his first plate appearance, and if I remember correctly, came around to score a run. Yeah. So amazing that the Twins had 2 players, Eduardo Escobar and Danny Santana, who broke his streak recently, just a few days ago actually, who had gone more than 120 plate appearances without a walk. That's pretty rare to see in modern Major League Baseball, which is starting to, has fleshed out the fact that on-base percentage is a very important stat worth following, and that walks can be critically important to boosting those rates. It's rare, I think, for the Twins to have 2 players like that. I haven't crunched the numbers on other rosters, but pretty surprising to see that streak last as long as it did for Escobar and for Santana, for that matter. But now both streaks have come to an end. I guess they can start on new streaks if they so choose. Thought number 4, Joe Mauer had the day off. Torrey Hunter had the quote-unquote half day off. He was the DH, and Kennys Vargas played first base. Nothing wrong with Mauer, Paul Molitor said. It is just a scheduled day off. He's been looking for times to get Mauer a day, and this was his first day off. Mauer has had some DH days to get those quote-unquote half days off. give his legs a little bit of a breather from fielding work. But Thursday was just one of those routine scheduled days to try and keep Mauer in the lineup on a consistent basis. He's done that. I think if you told the Twins at the beginning of the season, May 7th is the first day, Mauer's going to get a day, he's going to be hitting fine, he's going to be one of your best offensive players, and he'll be in the lineup every single day. Until then, would you give him a rest and trade that? The Twins would take that. The goal, of course, is to keep their best hitter in the lineup for the entire season. Any way that they can do that, I think you're going to see a fair number of DH days throughout the season as Molitor tries to strategically rest some players, whether it's Torrey Hunter or Joe Mauer. I think those are the two most prominent examples of guys you'll see rotated in and out of the lineup despite productive bats. Guys like Trevor Plouffe, Brian Dozier, I expect that you'll see them in the lineup just about every day. Probably not going to see as many days off for those guys. Thought number 5, for the second day in a row, Shane Robinson made a play that impressed me from the press box. I went into it in my 5 Thoughts column on 1500ESPN.com, but just briefly for this video, he hit into what should have been a double play, hustled down the line. The A's threw the ball away, so he takes second base on the overthrow. Well, then lefty Drew Pomeranz kind of forgets to check on him at second base as he comes set. Robinson takes a walking and then a running lead, takes third easily. He scored on a sac fly from Eddie Rosario in a run that would not have come around had Robinson not, been heads up on the bases and taken third there when the pitcher basically started napping, catching him at second base or even checking on him at second base for that matter. Plays like that don't necessarily come across in the box score as being really impressive. When you're in the flow of the game, that's the kind of thing that sort of stands out to me. And not every player would make that read, would make that jump, would steal that bag, and take the risk to make that play. But Robinson, with his head in the game, much like on Wednesday night, when with 2 outs shaded to left center, he made a long running and diving catch to end the game. Those are plays that stick out with you, and it's easy to see, despite a limited skill set, why a manager would start to trust a player like Shane Robinson for how he plays the game. That'll do it for this 5 Thoughts video. Twins 3 games above 500 for the first time since the end of the 2010 season when the team was getting ready for the postseason. If you can believe it, it's been that long since the Twins have had a record this high above 500. They'll see if they can keep it going on the road trip to Cleveland and Detroit. Until then, I'll check in with you throughout the road trip. I'll be doing these videos. I won't be traveling. I'll be doing them from Minneapolis. But we'll also have the Touch 'Em All podcast on Sunday, so check back for that. Until next time, thank you for watching. I'm Derek Wetmore. I will catch you later.